You're watching TVC Breakfast. It's time now to just breeze through the papers and take a look at the top stories. And I begin with the first newspaper. Hashtag endsars anniversary. Police protesters set for showdown. As armed soldiers, policemen take over Lekki Tollgate Plaza. No going back on hashtag endsars memorial rally. Organizers vow will deploy legitimate means to stop public protests. Lagos police, only governors have power to stop rallies, says Falana. All right, to the Nation newspaper now. Hashtag endsars why protest is unnecessary by Sanwo-Olu. Police in show of force lock down Lekki toll gate. To this Nigeria newspaper now. Anniversary of youth protest. endsars red alert. Police talk tough, vow to neutralize protests. Lagos urges youth to protest assets. Falana's son to join protest. All right, Lagos urges youth to protect asset. That's what is reading. All right, we'll quickly move now to the front page of the Daily Times. Hashtag endsars anniversary. Police Falana group disagree over planned rally in Lagos. Legitimate means will be used to stop any planned rally. Police speaking. All right, move to the Punch newspaper. Hashtag endsars anniversary. Police occupy Lekki Tollgate. Others activists set for protest. All right, you find details on the Punch newspaper. To the News Direct now. Security forces kill scores of Boko Haram bandits in Borno, Kaduna. To the Blueprint. Insecurity, gunmen storm peace meeting, kill 2 Imo monarchs. You find the details on the pages of the Blueprint newspaper. To the Leadership newspaper now. Despite 197 varsities, admission crisis persists in Nigeria. All right, you find the details on the pages of the Leadership newspaper. To the Daily Trust now. Residents allege extortion as Mambila Power Project execution drags. Residents allege extortion as Mambila Power Project execution drags. To the front page of the National Economy. Poor ports infrastructure, others undermine Nigeria's non-oil export. Poor ports infrastructure, others undermine Nigeria's non-oil export. And finally, on the front page of the Business Day, household spending surpasses pre-pandemic levels, yet Nigerians poorer. Household spending surpasses pre-pandemic levels, yet Nigerians poorer. You find all of those details on the pages of the Business Day. All right, so we will be going to Abuja now, where our correspondent Femi Akonde is standing by to bring us update on the hashtag endsars protest commemoration 1 year after. Femi, good morning. Talk to us. What is happening at the fountain this morning?
Well, the point of convergence for the endsars protesters is the Unity Fountain here in Abuja. But for now, the whole place is as clean as a whistle. We have not seen endsars protesters around here. What we have around here are journalists waiting for the protest to happen. The time the protest was meant to start is 8 a.m. But this is a few minutes past 8 a.m. and that protest is yet to begin. Even we have not seen a heavy deployment of security, anti-riot policemen, soldiers and other security agencies around here. Everyone had expected that by this time the whole of the Unity Fountain will be cordoned off, but we have not seen that show of force by security agencies here in the federal capital. What we have just seen are people we believe to be undercover policemen, members of the DSS, just moving around disguising as a bystanders and passers-by, just doing their thing, observing the whole situation here. But for now, the whole place is still very quiet. We do not know when the protest will start or where it is taking place for now. But the point of convergence that was widely circulated is the Unity Fountain where we are right now. But that hashtag endsars protest is yet to begin as we speak. Veronica.
All right, Femi, we keep tabs with you for developments that will be coming much later, perhaps, at the Unity Fountain. Thank you for bringing us up to speed. All right, moving on now. It's 1 year after wild protests against police brutality ended in Nigeria. The road to recovery for the police is rather slow and painful in the wake of the loss of 22 police operatives and the destruction of 205 police formation. The police authorities want to forget the endsars protests in a hurry, but vestiges of the events linger. Sifonesian compiled this report.
Officers want to forget in a hurry. But the endsars protest is a sad reminder of the impact of mass mobilization against police brutality. 22 police operatives were killed while 205 police formations were destroyed. Recovery from the protests that claimed the lives of 56 persons across the country has been slow and painful for the Nigeria police. 16 of the police officers killed were promoted posthumously, as well as 70 of their colleagues who survived. Efforts are on to rebuild the destroyed police stations as part of a larger reform of the police. The Police Act 2020 prescribes a range of reforms for the police, including a single term of 4 years for the Office of the Inspector General of Police, establishment and duties of the Nigeria Police, notification of delayed detention, arrest in lieu, and stop and search. It also provides for an elaborate community policing program. Experts like this retired Commissioner of Police worry that very little effort has been made in implementing the reforms.
The endsars protest was really in favor of the police to a large extent, because they saw the decay in the police. They saw the challenges the police is going through, and they made the government to know, the world to know that this is what this is what they want for the police reform. But the reforms have been just cosmetic reforms. I have taken part in some committees. What is being happening? Can't see the impact. Cosmetic.
At a news conference on August 24th, the Minister of Police Affairs said 25,000 constabularies have been trained and deployed to their local government of origin to aid intelligence gathering. But the program is facing a challenge of acceptability at the grassroots.
It do. But because we take things for granted as a country and as people, we find ourselves where we found ourselves. And now we've learned our lesson.
Internal security is the police. They were trained law enforcement, policing. Public order is the police. Others are just supportive. Those arms are just supportive.
On the aspects of welfare, President Buhari on June the 10th directed the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission to carry out an upward review of police salaries and benefits. Presently, a cadet inspector on grade level 07 gets an annual salary of 878,778 naira.
If we boost the morale of our police, we have the best, even in the world, not only in Africa.
Over the years, funding for the police has been poor. The Inspector General of Police had in April raised the alarm over the inability of the police to tackle rising insecurity in the country due to lack of funds. At a meeting with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the IGP lamented that Nigerians expect his officers to perform a miracle of securing the country without adequate funding. Well over 17 billion naira was budgeted for the Ministry of Police Affairs this year.
We don't allow sentiment to becloud our sense or sense of judgment. We should have to tell them the truth. I cannot be a place that I think my men are suffering. They don't well. My men are not well paid. My men are not well equipped. My men are not well trained. We don't have the equipment. Some police divisions don't have police vehicles. Some police divisions have very few men because the criminals also monitor the police stations. That what happened in jailbreak in Kogi recently. They monitor. They know how many personnel are on duty. They monitor. They know how many arms they have. How well are they well armed? They get all this intelligence from those targets they want to strike. I went to Calabar. I saw an area command in a container. Area command. How dignified is that?
As an alternative means of funding and equipping for the police, more than 74 billion naira was budgeted for the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. In August, the fund donated equipment said to be worth 11 billion naira to the police.
Police Trust Fund, that also happened to one of those who fought for that fund. I was in National Assembly during the public hearing, and I think it was established one good thing that was done, have been done by this administration, Police Trust Fund.
Police Trust Fund, those are, they complement, but it stopped there from complementing. You have to institutionalize what I'm telling you. We have to institutionalize it.
While efforts in repositioning the police continue, however slow, there are still reports of high-handedness by police operatives resulting in the loss of lives in some instances. Sifon Asian, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, with me in the studio is Security Consultant Darlighton Umoru. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Veronica.
And also joining us via Zoom from Abuja is security expert, retired Commodore Abimbola Ayuba. All right, Abimbola Ayuba, retired Commodore, will join us much later when he's around. But let's come to you, Darlighton Umoru. You saw that report, and our correspondent says about 22 police operatives lost their lives and the destruction of 205 police formations happened during the hashtag endsars protest. But one of the things that came up out of the hashtag endsars protest was police reforms and the need to improve on their welfare. Now this is 1 year after that. Has anything really changed? Have we seen an improvement in the welfare of the police and in the relationship between the police and the people?
I don't think so. I think the only thing that changed is the scrapping of SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad.
Really?
Yeah, beyond that, I've not anything. I was somewhere in one of the police formation. I don't want to mention specifically.
Right.
And I was sitting down with somebody in the Mami market, and the person was drawing my attention to something that was going on. And what was that was going on? A tailor was openly sewing police uniforms. A tailor was openly in the Mami market sewing police uniforms in a police formation. Is that tailor the tailor for the police authority or a private tailor? Those who were patronizing them, was it the authority, the police authority, that gave him those uniforms to be made for its members, or individuals who were buying their own uniforms were the one patronizing that man? It was a thing I couldn't provide an answer to, but it was glaring, it was obvious. The endsars, I have said this over and over and over again and again and again. I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. The endsars in itself, the motive was meant to help the policemen, police officers. It was to highlight what the average policeman was going through, the sufferings. How much do they earn? What is their numerical strength across the country? Even so, how are they maintained? Most of them buy even their boots. Some buy their uniforms. They provide money, like you go to certain police stations, they tell you they don't have certain logistics. Is the authority providing those logistics for them to act, particularly when it comes to reactions or reactionary measures? Do they really have the capability? That's why some will tell you that when they went to a police station to report a particular incident, the police will tell you they don't have vehicles or they don't even have fuel in their vehicles. Who is supposed to provide that? Is it the man that is lodging the report? Or the police authority? At
the end of the day, the person lodging the report has to provide. That
yes,
is what we see.
It is very serious. And then we've seen situations or had situations where people from their homes call specific numbers that are supposed to be emergency numbers when you have some emergency in your hands. And then those numbers, they tell you different stories. The problem is not the average policeman who dons that uniform. What is the authority doing? The police reform, the police reform, the police reform. It's not today. What is the police commission doing? What have they done to help the average policeman? What have they done to improve the lives of these people who are there waiting to receive bullets on behalf of the civilians? If there's an armed robbery case, who do you call upon? The police. And these people are not well equipped, for goodness sake. And then there's anything you talk about corruption, many of them are corrupt. Again, they are not meant to be corrupt. But even so, have you looked into the circumstances
that have pushed them into being corrupt?
Have you looked into it? These are men, our brothers. These are women, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters. The Nigerian police, endsars, came up to say the original ideology. Let us not mistake
Before
it.
it was hijacked, yeah.
Well, if you say it was hijacked, the original ideas, the demands was to remove SARS out, take them out because they had become a menace at a point in time. SARS is a special squad, as it's
Special anti-robbery squad.
Yes, meant to tackle armed robbery activities or tackle armed robbers headlong specifically.
Right.
But we saw that they digressed.
All right.
They missed the track, and then they were into some other things.
With regards to what is the police commission doing, if the problem is the challenge of the executive or the police commission. Monies are budgeted, but not much is seen with regards to the police. And then I asked the question, who is holding them to account? But then before we go on to that, we'll see, these are visuals from the Lekki toll, the point for the hashtag endsars protest last year. And this year, protesters had said that they were going to come out to protest again in commemoration of the one-year hashtag protest. But then before then, building up to this day, we had seen security operatives, you know, beefed up. The state had beefed up security around the Lekki toll. We see policemen and their police van. We saw the army earlier. We saw some other security personnel, you know, at the Lekki toll. About 2 persons were taken into the van, although we do not know the conditions for which they were arrested, but we know that 2 persons were taken into the van. And one of the questions that came up was the relationship, show of force. Stemming from what happened last year, should we still be going in that direction, talking about making arrests? People just came out. Do we need to arrest them again? Shouldn't we be looking at relationship, building better relationship, talking about the police and the people now moving forward, stemming from what we saw happen last year?
Apparently, yes, we're supposed to have a robust dialogue, you know, the police and the people. It is the constitutional right for any disgruntled person to protest over issues he or she is not satisfied with. But the manner in which you go by that protest, again, is very important. In this part of the world, people come up with ideas, you know, they want to talk about, they want to protest over. But there are people who are also waiting on the wings, you know, just to see how much they could hijack what you want to do to achieve their own private or selfish motives. Again, talking about engagement, have we really had representatives of the youth, of the people, who come out to say, okay, engage us, let's dialogue, and then let's have a way forward? It's almost like a faceless leadership thing, which apparently becomes a bit difficult to have people to talk with.
But some persons believe that is not a problem.
You think it's not a problem. They have leadership, but just that the leadership is faceless. How do you say it's not a problem? How do you go about it? Who do you discuss with? Who do you dialogue with? Do you go to the street and stand and say, oh, you who is there, come out, let's talk? Do you carry a microphone and begin to do a campaign on the road? How is it going to be achieved? But that is not a license to use brutality, because police brutality is one of the things the youth also protested against. Okay, but the truth, let's tell ourselves the truth. This whole idea of giving excuses does not work for me. It does not work for me. Let's be practical, and then let's go down on earth and begin to look at it and identify the way it is. Let's not begin to be theoretical, begin to want to import what happens in other places. In other places where you have, we've seen protests in the past where the protesters have leadership. You say, okay, even when they are accosted, you say, okay, who do we talk with? The two persons who were taken now at the target, they may be sitting down there with the police. Perhaps they may not have been taken to a cell or something.
No,
but
they were kept in the van there.
That's what I'm saying. That's the first measure. Take them, don't encourage the build-up. Okay, if you say you don't want a build-up, if the police says we don't want a build-up, we don't want protest, of course you know that as much as you have a right to protest, the police also has a right to protect you, the protesters. The police also has a right to ensure that that protest is not hijacked by hoodlums who are waiting to use that against the people the protest is supposed to work for. And then those who are also waiting to use the opportunity to loot. Of course, you are aware.
But then this move, don't you think it can also cause a stir?
Which of the moves? Taking
the two people and keeping them in the van.
The authority has said no protest.
Okay.
Now, if you went about, they said no unlawful gathering. Now, if they found you doing that, what would they do? Perhaps they will take you and begin to talk with you.
Right. Maybe
keep you somewhere and begin to discuss with you. Apparently, what the police must not do today is to apply force.
All right.
Because the people are agitated. The moment you want to apply force, then it will degenerate.
Right.
Because, of course, don't forget that the degeneration of the last protest was what led to the looting of even the armory of the police. If you remember, the police armory in several formations were looted. Are you saying that those who looted the police armory or looting of the police armory was a part of the original agenda?
Not at all.
Although, there you go.
Right.
And so, how do you prevent that? How do you, now so they have said they don't want a reoccurrence because of the antecedent of the protest.
So like you have said, the police, one thing the police must not do today is...
They must not apply force.
Right. So we have to leave the conversation there. Security Consultant Darlighton Umoru, thank you so much for your time.
A pleasure.